And a good hello to you, and thank you for joining us here at Coolest Life. My name is Tony, and I'm here to walk you through my experiences with Starlink and other internet providers. I'll give you a little bit of background and everything like that as soon as the opening intro credits go around. But I just wanted to say that I've been meaning to make this video for some time now, but it just wasn't feasible. And I got to thinking, you know what? I don't have to take pictures of stuff. I can just show you stuff like right here. I can just show you what we're talking about when we're talking about Starlink. And but I want to kind of give you some of the pros and cons that I found with Starlink and how it compares to other providers, and why am I using Starlink right now. So come along with us, because you just entered the Coolest Life Starlink Review Edition. So what is Starlink? Starlink is basically an internet service provider for the most part, is what it is. Am I crooked here just a little bit? Maybe I am. What it is, they have a blanket or a network of satellites that actually encompass the globe. What this allows, and they're spaced apart. If you've ever seen, I liken it to those drones. You ever seen a whole bunch of drones all at once and they're working together and they do light shows with them and stuff? Some places are using those instead of fireworks, but they'll go way up in the air and they stay perfectly so far apart and everything when they're way up in the air. Starlink is basically the same kind of thing. It works on a GPS system, so global positioning system, so that when they're way up out of the atmosphere, so they're not affected by storms. Somewhat, they can be affected by storms, but it's more a signal and less about the satellite itself. So they have that going for them. The other thing they have going for them, you know what? I always do this on the fly. The other thing they do is it's completely around the world, so that if you're on a boat and you log into your Starlink, and you can actually get service while you're out on the boat in the middle of the water. Now, if you're way out and you can't see land, the odds of you getting a Verizon, a T-Mobile, an AT&T signal, any of that kind of stuff is zero. You're not going to get it. I'm just saying. So if you're out in the middle of a desert, and there's lots of places. See, that's why internet service providers actually show you what their footprint looks like. Well, there is no footprint with Starlink. Now, what do I know about Starlink? What have I ever used? Let me turn that down. What have I ever used? I've used AT&T. I've used Sprint. I've used Verizon. I've used T-Mobile. Those are the big ones that I've used. I've also used Straight Talk and some others. They'll give you like a jetpack, which looks like this right here. We used a jetpack like this through Verizon, and well, it was great some of the time, but most of the time it was not great. I will say, especially when you're traveling out west, you're anywhere between California and Nebraska. It's painful. Well, I used T-Mobile. I used T-Mobile home internet. It was working great as long as I stayed over there on the East Coast. As soon as they got to say Roswell, New Mexico, here's what T-Mobile did to me. T-Mobile, I changed my location to Roswell, New Mexico, because I already had a unit and everything. And they said all you gotta do is just plug it in. You don't need no wire coming to you or anything like that. So what happened? What happened was is I'm gonna put it down just a little. What happened was uh, it said, "Oh, you don't have service." I'm like, "Why don't I have service?" So I called them up, and they said, "Well, did you change your location to Roswell?" I said, "I sure did." They said, "Well, you that's a high demand area, so you got to get put on a waiting list before you get service there." Well, how long have I been on a waiting list? Oh, it could be a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months. I'm like, I'm only here for 3 weeks, so the odds of me getting service are pretty slim, huh? She said, "Yep." So anyway, I dropped them. When I got up to South Dakota, I was thinking about getting a Starlink service, and then when I finally got down to Yuma, Arizona, I went ahead and bought one. Starlink service, you're going to get this piece here. This one here is going to be basically your Wi-Fi unit itself, and then you're going to get this piece here, which is going to look. This looks like most of your satellites. You've probably seen satellites. I guess it's not really, satellites are in the air, so this is a receiver dish on the ground. And the great thing about it is you can run the wire, and you can actually put this on top of your RV if you're going someplace, or you could put it, your RV might be in an enclosed area, so you can take it and push it out someplace else. Some people do this with their DirecTV units when they're traveling. Um, the great thing about it is you're not limited to only going to places where you're dead in the sun. If it's in the middle of summer, you don't necessarily want to be dead in the sun. You wouldn't mind your RV, for example, to be a little shaded. Um, but in this case, it can be, as long as that wire can take you, that 50-foot cord, maybe it's 100-foot, will actually take you to a place that is not shaded. Basically, you have clear view of the sky is ideal. You can have some leaves and some trees. You can be in some wooded areas and still get service on Starlink. Sometimes it can be spotty, it can hiccup, so you got to get that. However, you will at least get service. Where some places you go, different parts of Nevada, you can't get any service at all if you're on AT&T, Verizon, Sprint. As long as you're in downtown Reno or Las Vegas, yeah, you're going to be fine. Carson City, Virginia City, you're going to be good there. You go between those cities and you decide you're going to stop or someplace, or if that's where you live, you might just be screwed. You're not going to get service at all. Now, this particular video, I'm going to tell you about Starlink and why I chose it, especially for full-time RVers. I will say there's a huge price difference. You can get a Starlink service where, as you travel, it can automatically pick up service. That service runs about, I think right now, as of this video, I think it's $165 a month, which I think is kind of high. I got the $120 service. The difference is when I go someplace, I have to change my service address to wherever I'm at. So I got to put a new zip code, and it takes about 30 minutes for it to finally find it. As I've done that, I haven't had any issues at all. I was able to change my location all up California, Oregon, Washington. I changed it in Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, sure did in Kentucky, and down here where I am now in Georgia. So actually I'm in Alabama, real close to Georgia line. But I was able just to go ahead and log in, set up my unit outside, set up my Wi-Fi router box inside, which needs to be out of the weather, and takes me about 30 minutes as soon as I change my location. It's actually less than 30 minutes. Sometimes it's like 6 minutes, but anyway, at least give it 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden it'll kick on, and you'll have it just like you were at the last place. Your passwords don't change, and none of that stuff changes. It's still just as secure there as it was the last place you were at, whatever protocols you put on it to be safe. So how do I like it? It is, I would say it's 90% pretty good. I could still be in a place like this. I get some tree cover, and so certain programs that I watch on the TV, especially when I'm using Sportfire on my Fire Stick, it will glitch every now and then. So I just get used to it, and you can always just refresh it. So, but I like using my Fire Stick. So I've got my Fire Stick on it. I got my telephones on it, 2 telephones. I've got my laptop on it. I've got my wife's Fire Stick on it. And then her laptop, and then I got a Fire Stick or a regular smart TV outside in my outside bay. So I got 7 different devices, and you're not limited to the number of devices that can be on it. So that was a big plus. What are my pros and cons? The cons would be sometimes it can glitch out on you. The pros are, no matter where I am, I can get service. So I love that about it. If I need to do a video call, I didn't want to stream a video, no issues at all. I'm not limited by a data plan or any of that kind of crap. Now, granted, I am paying $120 a month for it, which is kind of steep in this day and age, but I've always got service no matter where I'm at. I don't have to worry. I don't have to sweat it. Gee, I hope this park's got Wi-Fi service, or oh my goodness, I hope I can, my DirecTV is going to work, and if I get a bad storm, am I still going to get service? I would say it can be a little spotty in bad service, anymore like your DirecTV. Anytime you're dealing with a satellite dish, you're going to be dealing with, it can be glitchy sometimes, but it's not like the entire storm. It's not, It's only certain times. Uh, if I had a chance to do it all over again, would I do it? I would have done it 2 years earlier. That's what I would have done. I'd have done it 2 years earlier. Now, me personally, I actually got a deal on my box on my satellite. Someone was trying to get rid of their old one, and they upgraded to a new one. This here works fine for me, so I got mine for $50 instead of 350. So that worked great for me because right now I think they're running 350 or 399 or whatever they are, and they ship them straight to you, and you got to do all the plug and play. There's no plug and play to it. One wire goes to the satellite dish, one end of it, no power, no anything, just the one wire. That one wire goes all the way to my Wi-Fi router. My Wi-Fi router has a second wire that is its power cord. That's it. That's how easy setup is. It's that easy. If you had one of those little jackeries that you could get some power, and you went out to the beach, no matter how far out on the beach you are, you can get Wi-Fi service. You can get streaming service right out there on the beach. I don't know if you'd want to lug all that thing all the way out there, but you could. The options are there. Say you want to spend the night on the beach in your tent or something. That's feasible because we know sometimes you get along to those beaches and all of a sudden I've got no cell service at all on some beaches. So that's happened to me several times actually. But anyway, I hope this explains a little about Starlink and maybe give you some ideas of should you get one, should you not get one, or just maybe encourage you one way or the other. If it was me, yeah, I'd get it. I would have never gotten DirecTV or any of that other stuff because so many of these streaming services are free now, which is what I use. I use one called Sportfire for all my sports, and I use one called there's another one. There's a spinoff of Sportfire also that you can get TNT, ABC, NBC, CBS. Most of them do come out of New York that I get, but that would be for another video. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe. Send this to your friends who are considering putting into a Starlink, and I can give them some of my 2 cents of what I think about it. I'm gonna let you go because I didn't get back out here living the coolest life. Starlink Review Edition.